So I want to talk about what is known as the idiopathic toe walking or forefoot walking. Now, what doctors call it idiopathic, as in they see it as a disorder. So they say idiopathic, meaning that they don't know the cause of the disorder. So they claim that toe walking or forefoot walking is a disorder, but they also say we don't know the causes of it. At the same time, they will also provide a solution without knowing the cause. And one of their solutions is, I believe, should actually be outlawed, is they'll put these children in casts on. They put casts on their legs, and they say that the reason they may be forefoot walking or toe walking like this is, first of all, it's not toe walking because nobody actually walks purely in the toes. It's forefoot because you also use the balls of your foot. So it's actually forefoot, but they call it toe walking. And they say that it's because it may be to do with their Achilles tendon being too short, which is not true. So they'll say they will put them in casts to hold their feet down and essentially force them to heel strike around. So they say that if you put them in this cast, they'll stretch their Achilles uh, tendon, and that will help them learn how to walk properly, as in heel strike. But heel striking is not how you walk properly. It's horrible. Um, the obvious amusing thing is that all sprinters, or every single professional sprinter, is a forefoot sprinter. They know that the best technique to sprint is forefoot. If you watch them in slow motion, you will not see any of them even in their forefoot sprint. They will not hit their heel on the ground because they know that there are certain angles which angles in your joint system. There are optimum angles in which where your muscles are able to activate like fully with strength. And if the angles are like too low or if they're too high, you can't appropriately engage your muscles in sprinters' case for maximum speed and explosiveness. So they figured out that okay, you have to sprint forefoot if you want to sprint properly and if you want to get maximum engagement from your body. Uh, so yeah, they'll sprint forefoot, heels don't even touch the ground, and then obviously you got long distance runners who also there's a bunch of them. They're not all, but there's a bunch of them. And Kipchoge, the best forefoot, no, not just forefoot. He's the best runner, long distance runner in the world right now, and he's a forefoot runner. Amusingly enough, he doesn't actually walk forefoot, but for for many miles he will run forefoot, but he will not walk forefoot, which is odd, but hopefully he'll change that too. So yeah, these guys they run forefoot, and then at the same time, doctor would be like, "Yes, this is beautiful form. Love the way you guys run. Looks amazing. It's very efficient." But then if the child came along walking forefoot, they're like, "Oh, strap him down." You know, maybe not as violently, but it's like your child has got a disorder. We don't know the cause of it. Like, yeah, but the daddies are out here doing amazingly well in the sports, using excellent techniques and forms with their forefoot. It's like, yes, yes, that's great, but your child, he is not allowed to do that. So, from a doctor's perspective, it's like you may sprint, which is the limit of athletic capability, or you may just run, which is close to those limits. Like these extreme movements, you may do them forefoot, and that's fine with them. But if you do low level movements like just merely walking forefoot, it's like, no, that's a disorder. We must strap their legs down in a cast, stretch their Achilles, and force them to heel strike around. I was like, that's ridiculous. But that's where we're at. They see forefoot walking as a disorder in children. So hopefully that will change soon. But right now it's obviously ridiculous. You can't have one and the other. And that's the problem of athletes as well. You can't be doing forefoot sprints, forefoot run, jog, and then heel strike walk. Like, how does that make sense? It's literally the opposite technique. You know, you got forefoot, great, amazing muscle engagement. You know that just from skipping. Forefoot is purely forefoot. So, but then when you go heel striking, it's lazy. Now you know your muscles are disengaged. It's relaxing for the muscles, but it's damaging to the joints because less. You know, if you're not using your muscles for your movements, what else is there to use other than your skeleton and your joints? And what happens to them? They don't have any energy absorbing capabilities other than the padding that's in between every section of bone in between your joints. And that padding is there as something to just help ease the movements of your bones. You know, the joints can move around comfortably. You can't use that padding instead of your muscles and just be like smashing it together, which is why a lot of meniscus tears happen. So you have to be very careful with this. But yeah, toe or forefoot walking, idiopathic it may be, but it's not a disorder. Salam.